Okay, today we're continuing our research on the world's religions. Now, I understand that Taoism, some of its followers do not actually want to be considered a religion, much like Buddhism. I respect that, but you have to remember I'm looking at the different belief systems of the world. So I apologize if I'm calling it a religion. Obviously, I know some people don't even view it as a religion, and they don't even adhere to any of the gods or the things that go along with it and that. They just look at this as something that is a good thing to practice as a human. So, again, I apologize to those people. But what I'm doing is I'm researching all of the world's religions, because as a Christian, I think we owe it to ourselves, instead of just saying, hey, Jesus is the only way, until we know that that's the only cure for sin, then we need to go out and research and see what the other religions believe before we make that kind of a statement. So that's what I've done. I went to all of their sites. I didn't go to Christian sites. I went to sites on, I started with Hinduism and Buddhism, Islam, African traditional, and now we're at Chinese traditional. I went to their websites, talked to their people, and tried to learn about what they actually believe is the parachute, because again, the plane of life is going down. We all agree on that. We're all going to die. So if the plane's going down, what parachute is strapped on your back? I mean, me as a Christian, mine is Christ and the cross. That's what I believe is going to save me at the end of this world. What do you believe is either going to save you or get you to eternal life or whatever? So let's delve into Taoism. Okay, I want to point out the fact that in China, 50% of the people are non-religious. Then 28% are Chinese traditional. One main variant is Taoism. The other big one is Confucianism. But anyways, then 8% are Buddhists, 7% are Christians, 5% are traditional ethnic, and then 2% are Muslims. So I don't want to tout this as like China's religion, when in reality, 50% of the people are non-religious. Okay, Taoism was founded by Lao Tzu, and I apologize for the pronunciation there. He was the author of the Tao Te Ching book. That is the book that's considered the Bible of Taoism, basically. His personal history is greatly varied, and a number of legends exist. Now, the elusive nature of Tao is taught to followers. Achieving balance with nature, oneself, and eventually returning to a state of Tao is the ultimate goal. Yin and Yang are described as opposite forces which need to be balanced and have become the symbol of Taoism. And here you have the Yin and Yang symbol that I'm sure many of you are very familiar with. Now, although communicating with the many gods of Taoism is practice, the main goal is focusing on your own harmony with nature. Buddhism and Confucianism ideas are often assimilated into Taoism. Okay, I do want to point out that many practicing Taoists do not believe in gods in Taoism, any deities or anything like that. But I do want to give a history of what the practicing, believing Taoists believe. They believe that the three pure ones are the highest deities of Taoism. There's a picture of the three pure ones. And they do not rule, however, but only instruct and influence the lesser gods and humans. Yanshi Tsin, the first principle, is considered the Most High, always existing God. Next in line is the Jade Emperor, and he actually rules over the entire universe. There are thousands of other lesser gods in Taoism. Here's a picture of the Jade Emperor. So you have, again, the three pure ones, then you have the first principle, and then you have the Jade Emperor. And the Jade Emperor is mainly the one in control and the one dealt with most in the religion. Okay, the story of creation, also known as the story of Panku, creation and the universal egg. In the beginning of time, there was only chaos. The elements and gases of the heavens and earth freely mingled, and the organizing principle was dormant. It lay dormant, resembling an egg. For 18,000 years, the universe remained in this state, until the incubation was finally complete and the egg hatched. Then the heavens and earth came into existence. The lighter, more pure substances floated upward and became the heavens. These elements were named Yang. The heavier, more impure substances descended and became the earth. These were named Yin. From the same forces, a third, the giant Panku, was born as well. As he grew, his sheer size divided the heavens and the earth. The giant lived for another 18,000 years, with the assistance of 4 creatures, a tortoise, a phoenix, a dragon, and a unicorn. He labored daily to mold the earth. Together they created the world as we know it today. Keep in mind this story of the universal egg. Many of them, of course, do not believe this is a literal story. Some do, but many, of course, believe that probably this took place in an evolutionary process or, some other way. So now we know a little bit about yin and yang. Okay, Taoists do not believe in original sin. They don't believe you're born with a sinful nature. They believe that doing bad deeds or sinning will cause harm to them, physically or psychologically. They believe the cure to these sins is confession. They also do not believe in the need for salvation, but rather enlightenment. So keep in mind that it's interesting that they actually believe that confession is needed. Almost all the religions believe that you need to confess your sins or amend for your sins. Okay, heaven and hell, this greatly varies. Many believe only in afterlife. The ultimate goal of the Taoists is to become immortal, escaping the normal afterlife cycle. They believe our soul is eternal and simply migrates to a new form. Well, that form could be a god, a spirit, or a human. Hell exists in a form of purgatory, which has levels, and again, stories vary. Now, most Taoists agree that hell is only temporary until the soul is repentant and they are reborn. Now, some Taoists dispute the idea of a physical hell. Okay, here is the parachute strapped to the back of every Taoist, and that is mastering internal and external alchemy results in the returning to the state of Tao. Now, this process allows them to escape the normal cycle of the afterlife. This process is achieved by practices such as mastering qi, yoga, meditation, and ingesting gold. Numerous others as well. You must additionally live an upright, moral, and overall good life. Okay, what do Taoists believe about Jesus? Just as all the other religions, no one says anything bad about him, at least the main religions. They all believe he's either a good teacher, a prophet, even though he said that I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. They consider him a good person and a good teacher. Now, what they believe is, they believe that Jesus is to be a god of Christianity. Now, many Taoists claim that he and his disciples were influenced by Taoism. His existence in the afterlife is unimportant to their belief system. So much like Buddhists, they want to say that Jesus actually used a lot of their traditions. Here are some famous quotes of Taoism. At the center of your being, you have the answer. You know who you are, and you know what you want. Lei Tzu. I apologize for the pronunciation. Here's another one. Flow with whatever may happen, and let your mind be free. Stay centered by accepting whatever you are doing. This is the ultimate. Chung Tzu. Before I begin my critique of Taoism, I want to again apologize to any variants of this religion. Obviously, I've only studied this a short time, but I believe I have the basics in place. And again, not everyone believes in God or gods. Okay, in my critique here, I just want to point out that it's very interesting to me that the top level, these three pure ones, are the highest deities of Taoism. Now, as you see, a sort of trinity. Many of the other religions I've found do have a source of trinity as their base. Now, they're, in my opinion, way off base in other things, but they do have this trinity at the top of theirs, and that's very interesting to me, because if you think about it, when Noah got off the ark, he had three sons. Those three sons went their separate ways. Shem, one of the sons, would eventually birth Abraham, and eventually we'd have Moses. Moses sat down with God and got the actual, in our opinion, complete story of creation, which you can find in Genesis of the Bible. Now, what do the other people, what are they going to have that got off the ark? They're going to have memories of the flood and stories of creation, and they're going to pass that down to their children. And what happens when you pass down something by word of mouth? It becomes watered down, it changes, you have all these variants. So anytime you see stories of Noah or creation in other cultures, that's just a sign that the flood actually happened and that Noah actually existed. Okay, we keep coming back to the problem of sin. If you take a baby and you raise it in a lab and you give it nothing but good things, you never lie to it, you give it love, it's still going to lie, steal, manipulate, and be selfish. It is a proven fact. Every person on this entire planet is infected with sin. You have a sinful nature. If you get in trouble and someone catches you doing something wrong, inside of you is going to be the instinct to try to hide your sin, try to make it look like you're not guilty, or that somebody else, it was their fault. That's just your natural instinct. It's mine too. It'll never change. As you get older, you'll get better at covering it and better at, maybe being a better person. But the problem of sin in every culture and every religion, they basically try to either say it doesn't exist, but then they believe that you need some sort of confession or, rules or goals that you try to follow to make yourself a good person. Okay, if you look at some of the quotes, they're very similar to the ones you'll find in Hinduism and Buddhism in the fact that they believe that you can do it. Now, I'm not saying that, I don't want to misconstrue this, because some of the other religions were saying that I had kind of made it sound like that I thought you were being overly confident or full of yourself. I'm not saying that that's what the religion says. What I'm saying is the religion seems to say that you can personally do it. You can be good enough. You can achieve the next afterlife on yourself. I mean, look at this. At the center of your being, you have the answer. You know who you are, and you know what you want. I mean, this one here, and this one here just basically says go with the flow, Flow with whatever may happen and let your mind be free. Stay centered by accepting whatever you are doing. So if you're doing it, it's all right, Okay, I want to end by saying that I really highly respect the people of China, their costumes, their outfits, their music, their culture. It's very fascinating, very beautiful. But I will say, as a parachute, I'm not interested in putting Taoism on my back. Christ and the cross are going to be my payment for sin, and that doesn't make me perfect, but it makes me forgiven. And if I respect that sacrifice, then obviously I'm going to try to follow the teachings of Christ. But no matter how much I try and how much I follow rules or whatever, it's not going to make me a good person. I know that. So that's the reason that I'm not going to take off the parachute of Christ and put on my own good works. It just will simply not work.